And welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name's Ruben, and this is my review for Sex Education Season 3. This is a non-spoiler review. I will be doing a separate video with spoilers once the series is released. Thank you to Netflix who gave us the screeners for this. So don't worry, you can watch the hard content, just kind of hearing my excitement for this, whether it's any good. I will be doing a ranking in this review as well. So keep your ears out for that. Don't keep them out. Keep your ears on. I don't know what I'm saying. Let's jump in. It's a new year. Otis is having casual sex, Eric and Adam are official, and Jean has a baby on the way. Meanwhile, new head teacher Hope tries to return Moordale to a pillar of excellence. So straight off the bat, I thought this season was excellent. I had a lot of fun for it. I felt like the writing was very much polished. It feels like they had more time to polish the dialogue and the story. It feels like it had very much a clear idea, beginning, middle, and end. It feels like a complete, tangible arc. There is still going to be, by the looks of it, a season 4 because there are storylines that can't continue that are kind of left hanging. But if we don't get a season 4, if it doesn't get picked up, this would also be a nice way to leave us with our characters. There does feel a sense of completionist, like a game completing everything. There does seem enough that would satisfy you for the most part, I think, if you're going to get through those 8 episodes, which is standard for the series now, with about those 50 to an hour mark on the episodes. Every episode, barring the first episode, I was totally invested in the characters, much more than the first 2 seasons. I loved what season 1 did for representation. It also kind of sparked an interest as to this world that they're creating, because it's a very different world. It's a hyper-realistic world set in a world that looks like it's from the 70s, 80s without technology. Now everybody wears like really different clothing. It feels like it's set and filmed like 20-30 years back, but it isn't. It's now. So it's a very different take on it. Also Britain, but kind of not Britain. It's their own world, which is why I say it's hyper realistic. It's taking showpieces of genres and characters, placing them in a school and letting them explore that with their characters. And that was what we basically got in season 1. Then we had season 2, who not everybody was massively impressed with. I didn't mind it, but I do think like season 1 was better than season 2. There was a lot going on in season 2, and it felt like they didn't quite know what they were doing with some of the character plot developments, although there was one particularly that I was invested because I wanted to see what would happen with that character. For me, season 3 can be summed up quite like this: character development. That's what season 3 did for the majority of the characters very cleverly. They give their characters time. There's a lot that they go back into, not really flashbacks, just they spend time with our characters and we get to see why they feel a certain way, or why they self-identify a certain way, or why this marriage broke up, or why those people think the way they do. It's all about character development, which is why when you get to the middle, towards the end of season 3, you are very much invested. There was a moment in episode 7 that I literally stopped breathing because of something that was happening on screen, and I was like, well, I had no idea that I was this invested in the characters. Obviously, Maeve and Otis thing is still like a big part of the relationship, but Maeve is interested elsewhere. Otis is doing his thing, as read in the synopsis. He's hurt from Maeve, that whole relationship in season 2, so he's kind of shut himself down. So he's exploring a relationship but not being in a relationship, if that makes sense. And there's people here whose arc has gone from I didn't like them at all. They were written like to be the bad characters, and now they've come almost full circle, well, 180, where we like them and we love the development of their character and you're kind of rooting for them. And then there are people that you were rooting for at the end that you just kind of feel by the wayside. There are a few characters I would love to see development in, because there are those that are just kind of used as stopgaps for our other characters to grow more and spend much more time on them. That's not to say that they won't have the ability in season 4, but there were a few characters that just weren't represented well in season 3. Pushing that all aside, acting was phenomenal. The dialogue is super tight, and the themes, I feel like the creators were given, once again, as much exploration as they needed to. There is an animated sequence that I thought was phenomenal. I'm not going to say when or what episode, just know that it is excellent and I loved it, and I could stand to see more of that. I love the fact that creators have been given the freedom by Netflix to kind of take their themes and really kind of chew the scenery and really give our actors meaty substance in amongst teenagers growing up. That's what it feels like. There's real genre specific things that each of our characters, especially with identity, that they go through. Now in this season, seems like this new head is like the new bad, and they create her to be almost like a dictator, so it's easy to kind of go, yeah, she's the person that I dislike most. But because every character gets given some time, some sort of backstory, it's not as easy just as to dismiss that character. As we saw with the previous head, we now have a massive backstory for him. We kind of like him. In this season particularly, his story has kind of grown out a bit. Even Hope, the new head in this season, is given some time and backstory. So although you don't like the way she's running things, you kind of get why she is doing it. She's from an old school of thinking, and even what she's going through in her life is pretty harsh. But saying that, you easily want to dislike her because of how she runs the school, and you're definitely on the kids' side and the teachers' side in this. I loved seeing the development of some characters that we've had already, but really haven't had a time to shine. For me, this is an A+ series. My ranking would definitely be 3, 1, 2. I think this is the strongest season. We often see this though. Sometimes you get that second season in a series. They have some time, they need some time to work out what's going on, and then they just shine because they get that extra time. They know what they do. They've had the previous season to bounce off of. They don't have to do too much work with those characters. They can just go for it in the third season. And it's great. I think Eric particularly shines again. Otis particularly shines again in this, and Maeve. But there are a few characters in this series this time around that you might be going, oh, I wasn't expecting them to spend so much time with this character. But now that they have, I love this character. Very, very sharp, witty dialogue that is funny. It feels like they've stepped a bit back from the exploration of the sexual content that we had more in season 1 and 2. There is still definitely that, but it doesn't feel like, I don't remember seeing many scenes that were quite as risque as we had in season 1 and 2. So I don't know if there were like some people moaning about it and that's the reason why. I just felt like it wasn't necessary for the story development in season 3, so they just went with what they were going for. It very much feels like power to the people in season 3. You'll understand why. I loved it. It was very good. Look out for my spoiler review. Thanks so much for watching this, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.